and good afternoon, everybody. So today I'm going to talk about platforms that will enable cell therapy companies, gene therapy companies, and advanced therapy companies to really come up with a new way of looking at their information architecture. So one of the primary principles on which the platforms need to be looked at is following these principles of the fourth industrial revolution, or the Industry 4.0 as it's commonly known as. So level one, the most important thing is data models. So making sure that you have consolidated data models about your cells, your equipment, your instruments, your assets, everything that basically defines your business, so to speak. And then the second layer is focus on workflows, because workflows define your business processes, and they're very, very critical. We have always drawn really pretty Visio diagrams on using Visio or on the whiteboard, but we never really take those Visio diagrams and make them reality. And the third thing is applications. A lot of times, companies start with applications first. Once you start with applications first, your data becomes fragmented, your workflows become fragmented. And then to do the business intelligence, which is level 4, you have to connect all the fragmented data into data lakes and data warehouses. So that's more work, more dollars, more time spent. And so our approach is to take what we call as a systems thinking approach. And the systems thinking approach is, instead of looking at different piece parts, think of the whole system as one integrated platform. So taking the life sciences context, you have broken up the companies into 4 different levels. Level 4 is where your ERP system sits. This is where your enterprise planning, your customer relationship management, your human resources, logistics. Below that, in level 3, is where all your operations are happening. Your research operations, your clinical operations, your development operations, manufacturing, QC, real-world data, real-world evidence. And then below that are your instruments, your equipment, your automation platforms, etc. So if you break up this big organization into these different boxes, the problem that I've seen, I'm going to use this Peter Senge's 5th discipline. I'm going to quote from it 2 or 3 times in this talk. The first law of system thinking is all of today's problem comes from yesterday's solutions. So we've divided this organization into smaller and smaller pieces, and then we essentially bought IT systems to solve these problems in these silos. And now we are trying to put it all together. It becomes a big challenge. And the siloed thinking across the whole product value chain slows down the whole business. It increases the cost of IT, and it also reduces your time to market in terms of speed to market. So instead of focusing on the lab, what we're talking about here, focus on the bigger system. Focus on research operations, or focus on manufacturing and QC as one integrated platform. The 10th law of systems thinking is basically saying, hey, I can chunk up the whole big elephant into smaller parts, and if I solve all the smaller parts, and eventually I'll get the big picture. And typically this is not the case. What happens is it, in fact, completely slows down the business. You have lots of different IT systems that are now trying to talk to each other, communicate with each other, upgrade at the same time, upgrade at different times. And so what it results is in complete chaos. So today I'm going to talk about how we have applied systems thinking to the product value chain in a biotech or a pharma company. And we've had customers that are big and small, and the concept is equally applicable to all types of companies. So the point here is evolution from point solutions to unified platforms. So this is the Gartner paper that talks about, instead of buying point solutions like ELN, LIMS, and MES. Think about a platform that actually has these as applications, like similar to what the modern technologies like the iPhone bring to the market is one platform, one data layer, one workflow layer, and multiple applications. So today's world is all the operations have hundreds of different systems. And in tomorrow's world, what we want to say is we have one integrated data layer, process layer, and application layer. And this will dramatically simplify the overall architecture, especially when it comes to advanced therapies, because the processes and advanced therapies are constantly revving. And if you don't have a good platform, then you will have to validate a lot of systems at the same time. So that's how we build this architecture. It's completely cloud agnostic, so you can deploy it in any cloud. There's a data fabric that has all the operational data, the intelligence data, the genomics data, and you don't have to pick all the stores. It depends on your business. And then you have a process layer that can essentially model all your recipes, your manufacturing processes, and then the applications sit on top. So we have a LIMS application, an ELN, an MES. All of these are sitting on top of the workflow layer, and they're merely windows into the process layer. But the other important part of this system like this is the metadata management. So you're managing your ontologies, your entities, and your workflows that really represent your business and your data models that represent your company's businesses. So imagine with ESP in one department, let's say in the development for doing process development or analytical development, and then you might have an ESP in research and in manufacturing and in medical affairs. And so these ESPs are all, eventually they're all communicating with each other. So having a distributed network of these is much better and will give you faster time to market and much lower cost than having hundreds of different heterogeneous systems all trying to talk to each other. Because one of the biggest pain points in this environment is transferring knowledge from research to development to manufacturing is everything is done in paper today. There is no digital representation of science that exists today. So what we've created is this network, but also a representation of these business processes, and I'll come to that when I get to the case studies. So we've been working on this for the last 10 years. We've built this platform much like an iPhone or an iOS platform with multiple applications, and we're continuing to develop more and more applications rapidly. So this allows customers to buy a single platform and buy applications. So as they scale their biotech company, they can start out with ELNs, they can start off with LIMS and sample management, freezer management, and then they can scale up as their company is scaling. So I'll give you different examples of this system. So for example, you have a inventory workflow. So we have an inventory application, sample application, samples coming into your lab after the pheresis. You have to do pre-manufacturing QC on it. So that's one process. Manufacturing workflows, QC workflows, everything is built on the same workflow engine. So you don't have to buy multiple systems. You just have to buy one single platform with multiple applications. And this will save a lot of time, money, and cost, and also a lot of validation costs of not having to integrate and validate all these different siloed systems. So now getting into some case studies. ATCC is a pretty well-known company that manufactures a lot of cell lines. So they're migrating all their manufacturing and quality control processes to our platform. So everything from the top of the swim lane, which is initiate manufacturing, to the actual bioreactor workflows, to creation of sampling points, and then running all the mycoplasma and all of the QC tests, the generation of certificate of analysis, the generation of the batch record, everything is fully automated in this one workflow. So you don't have to, like I said, again, buy multiple systems. Everything is managed through a single workflow. The same thing with tech transfer. Tech transfer is a big problem with big companies and small companies, whether you're tech transferring internally or tech transferring to a CDMO. It's a big challenge right now because there is no digital representation of the recipe or the QC method. So everything that's transferred is a lot of meetings, a lot of paper, and a lot of transfer of knowledge. With our platform, all of that knowledge is encapsulated into one file, just like a Word document or a PDF document, or like an Apple Music file, like an AAC file or an MPEG file or a JPEG file. So these digital files can then be quickly exchanged, and when new customers come in, you can take standard unit operations and very quickly tweak it, and you can reduce dramatically the tech transfer times from months to weeks. I'm going to go through this quickly. And then the cell and gene therapy system. So with a platform like ESP, you can manage the entire needle-to-needle process from samples coming in to the whole inbound transportation to QC, storage, manufacturing, outbound transportation, all the way back to the clinic. So we have connectors to various different systems and logistics and equipment and manufacturing, testing instruments. So all of this can be done in one platform. So this is an example of a Visio diagram for a needle-to-needle process for a cell therapy company. We're able to take all of those and convert it into an end-to-end workflow that has full chain of identity, chain of custody, does the manufacturing, does fill and finish, shipment, and tracking all the way back to the clinic. So we're doing this at Dana-Farber Cancer Center and other cancer centers as well. Different customers start at different points, but eventually they can keep adding applications as they scale their operations. So we have lots of different customers in the therapeutics area, in precision medicine, in precision diagnostics, in research, and in precision agriculture. So wherever there is a very complex biological process that needs to be modeled, customers come to us and we're able to quickly create a digital version of their process and completely automate and execute it. A lot of times we get this question, but we have legacy systems you have invested in a lot, and what do we do with that? And that's okay to have legacy systems. So you can keep your legacy systems, but ESP, our platform, can layer on top of your legacy systems and integrate to those legacy systems, but your next generation of technologies and applications can be very rapidly built on this platform. So we can keep your existing systems and use ESP as your innovation layer if you already have a lot of existing systems. If you're greenfield and don't have any systems, we have a lot of customers who are doing both with ESP, so we support both models. And so you can have your future composite applications or other L7 applications. We're building on every year we're releasing 3 or 4 new applications. Our customers have built their own applications on the platform, so it's an open API, so you can build your own applications. So the key concept here is you need to have your entire business's data model fully contextualized, and you can't do that without having a data platform like ESP, because otherwise you see only portions of the picture and the picture is distributed across multiple siloed systems. So in conclusion, excuse me, we believe a platform like ESP can create digital twins of your data models and your workflows. We have a product called the Hub where you store it and share those data models and workflows, and then you execute them and then you continuously improve. So this becomes a virtuous cycle of continuous improvement of your processes, of your methodologies, of your analytical methods, of your manufacturing processes. Whatever the science may be, it equally applies to that. And this, we believe, is true digital transformation. And this will help all companies. If you take this systems approach, to have better products, faster products, more reproducible science, so increased revenue, but at the much reduced operational cost because everything is in one place and you reduce your total IT cost. Thank you very much.